of which immunization is one division and training is one division. And we have an Apex Institute, that is National Institute of Health and Family Welfare, is the Apex Capacity Building Institute of Government of India for all health related training. Because I am talking on immunization supply chain, so if I speak regarding this immunization supply chain system of India, India is having 5 levels of supply chain, at least 5. There can be 6 and 7. Officially it is 5 levels of immunization supply chain. So we have national UIP stores which are level 1 primary. We have state vaccine stores which are level 2 primary because they also receive vaccines from the manufacturer. And then we have regional vaccine store. And as I told, we have 4 national primary level 1 and we have 53 state vaccine stores which are primary level 2, and we have regional vaccine store which is intermediate level 1, 109. Until this, we have walk-in coolers. Vaccines are stored in walk-in coolers. And then we have district vaccine store which are 667. So, and we have health facilities where vaccines are stored before it goes to outreach session. There are 28,000. And if you talk of the magnitude of the cold chain program, there are 70,000 cold chain equipment, ILR diffuser, 438 solar equipment, and 200 WIC, WIF. So this is the magnitude of our cold chain program. If you talk about the immunization human resource presently available at national, state, district, and health facilities, we have 30 states and 6 union territories, 660 districts, and 29 health facilities. So here we have staffs for immunization program and some staffs for the cold chain also. But when you talk of national level, we are grossly missing staffs for immunization supply chain at the national level. And immunization supply chain gaps as per the vaccine management assessment that was done since 2007 to 2011. I'm not speaking individually. I think the gaps are everywhere except effective use of VVM, thanks to polio eradication program. So when we found these gaps are categorized into 5 broad areas of immunization supply chain. It is management and policy, human resource and capacity building, infrastructure, planning, documentation and MIS, improvement in practice and supportive supervision. Now, if you have to plug these gaps, these are only possible when you have a systemic approach. Now, if we talk of 3 P's of a health system, processes, practices, and policies, which many of the previous speakers have spoken several times. So you can improve health system, especially for immunization supply chain system, if you have all these processes, practices, and policies can improve. So we prepare improvement plan. Improvement plan is not prepared for EVM. Improvement plan has to be prepared to strengthen immunization supply chains which should be reliable, affordable, and efficient. It is not prepared for EVM. So with this background, UNICEF facilitated to have a concept of health system strengthening through a building institution. And we need a system approach. So if you talk of this, these are the ministry division. In 2011, UNICEF conceptualized to plug this gap system with a system approach. We need to have institution under the Ministry of Health within the existing institution without creating parallel institution. So in 2011 we started, and it's a 4-year journey. And now we have National Cold Chain and Vaccine Management Resource Center at New Delhi, fully funded by government. Not a single penny from UNICEF except the advocacy, blueprint, budgeting, follow-up, hand-holding, and few technical staff. And similarly, this center looks more into the software component, and the National Cold Chain Training Center, which is under the Department of Health and Family Welfare of the Government of Maharashtra State, plus Government of India and with some technical assistance from UNICEF. So this is fully funded by the Ministry of Health in their 5-year plan and also in their annual health plan. So the philosophy and principle behind this is that MOHFW is able to plan, manage, maintain, fund, and run its cold chain system with long-term vision. And the principles which are behind this is MOHFW's ownership and investment.
Sorry, two minutes.
Yeah. So, and sustainable funding, long-term vision, and institutionalization. And clear exit plan for those who are supporting from outside, and least additional human resource. So now this is the organogram of the National Cold Chain Vaccine Management Resource Center. This is the organogram of National Cold Chain Training Centers, and these are the different functionality of National Cold Chain Vaccine Management Resource Center: capacity building, monitoring, evidence generation, and standards and quality formulation. And these are happening, these are reality. That's why this has been figured in their functionality. And again, NCCVMRC is doing all these activities: evidence generation, managing MIS, your trainings, and temperature monitoring. So all these are part of the NCCVMRC. Now coming to the functionality of NCCTC, which is more on hardware, they manage immunization, cold chain innovation, technology innovation, and in addition to that, they also managing the Make in India concept of cold chain equipment now, and solarization of the health facilities. In addition to immunization program, they also support child health program for SNCU and other equipments, and cold chain planning for the non-immunization program. Also they are fully involved, and this is one of the photograph of the Afghanistan batch who visited for different type of training. And these are different NCCTC activities: research, innovation, temperature monitoring, and also adoption of newer technology, and organizing conference, seminar, and have solarization of the health facility. Now, in addition to that, in the Made in India cold chain equipment campaign, so they have undertaken WALSUP, capacity building initiative, and this is also a prototype they have developed on cold chain technology, that is a vaccine carrier with digital display of temperature outside, so that the health worker is able to take decision. And this is, I won't speak on it, this is SNC equipment repair maintenance training, which they have done. The same cold chain technician who are used for immunization program, they are also engaged for this, which empower them. They get mobility support for this. And this is also the solarization of health facilities. And there will be $31.52 million US investment by the government for one state, and similarly other states are also coming for that. These are various benefits of which we have seen out of the solarization, which I am not speaking, but this is self-evident. And this is also the benefits of solarization in 420 health facilities, which you can see. And if you see the health system, this is before and after, before 2011 and after 2011. So there is lot of improvement in case of cold chain system and also for child health, especially for SNCU equipment. Now, to summarize, we need to fix the basics, that is human resource, regular capacity building, and empowerment, equipment, adequate spares and tools that staff must have. Equipment need to be need specific and country driven. Review, monitoring, and supportive supervision has to be in place, and then partners' role is to empower government. So that role has to be played significantly, and issues in cold chain is not only technology, it is more than technology, that is managerial, which has been spoken by several speakers. And this is the new hostel building which is coming up in Pune for the cold chain equipment, the cold chain training center, and we invite countries to collaborate, be part of it, and utilize these two national centers. And this is the acknowledgement for the staffs who are involved in the entire journey. And some of my colleagues are here who are now working out of the country. They are part of this journey. And
I'm
this
afraid
is
I'm
the
going to have
last.
to cut you off, sorry.
So we have a very good beginning, but we have to go miles. We have to travel miles. And I hope with advocacy, partnership, and networking and optimization, we will be able to have this long journey successfully. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Dutta. Okay, I'm very sorry to have to cut you a little bit short, and I know fitting a long story into a 10-minute presentation is very difficult. We have a few minutes for questions. I was hoping to see some online questions, but I have not seen any pop up here. So if we can just take a few questions, either on the global initiatives or on the country approaches, then we will do that. Go ahead and raise your hand if you have a question, or go up to a mic. Yes, over here.
Thank you. It's not really a question, just in line all these presentations. So first, thank all the very good presentation. And I think it's also very good. We see the visibility of the HR issue in Gavi supply chain strategy and also in this meeting. So I just want to highlight 3 things because we talk about leadership. I think, just give background. My background, I working on the UNICEF regional office.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt. Please, if you have a question, please make it very short. And if you have a comment, please make it very short, okay? Because we want to give other people a chance.
Okay, so I just make short. The first, the leadership. I think the leadership need to start with the advocacy for the policy maker. So that should from the EPI manager above, because now we have issues how to change the mindset in the structure change. So that's the first. I would not go to detail. So that is related to redesign. We talk about system. Redesign the HR structure in context immunization or in context supply. So that is related. The second, the last one is about a workforce. So in the past several years, at least in the Asian part, we see the new generation of the health workers. So because they are working on this, the feet of this system. So how to coach them, that's a huge need there. I stop here.
Thank you. Thank you. So the issues around leadership and aligning skills, and another one around the new workforce opportunities. We had a question over here.
How to restructure. Thank you. Actually, it's a comment with some questions. I'm trying to
Okay, please make a very short comment, and then go to the question.
Actually, yes, I am trying to look out of the box, because what we have like a picture on the ground.
Sorry, can you speak up, sir?
Yes. On the ground, we know the gap, we know what we want, but how are we coming out to fill this gap? That's my point. So far, we have diverse profiles of people involved in logistics or health logistics. We have different qualifications, we have different experiences, and is that what we should have? That's my question. Because there is a huge effort that's done to strengthen by the partners, of course, by trainings. But when people have these skills developed, then they leave the system at country level, either to become a consultant for an NGO or to work with international partners. And then it creates a kind of a gap again. And then we start thinking how to strengthen. So my question is that the way it should be done? Or are we going to have like a kind of vision to create, at country level at least, a kind of sustainable system that, you know, can be with a clear career profile, so that the country can build on that, and we know how maybe with this qualification and this experience, we can have like at district level, this is what we should have. And then to move at regional level, this would be the qualification and the experience you should have so that we have a clear picture. But
Yeah,
even,
okay.
last thing, even at global level, we are all here from different profile with different names, logistic officer, logistic specialist, senior. So it's like something, no, you can come in with, different ways, in different ways. So I think that there is something I'm trying to state here. How can we better have a vision and organize this, logistic or supply chain?
Thank you very much. So I think the question here is about organization of the HR system and retention of the talent that we build, right? And we have, let's take one more question down here. Can we have a microphone down here in front? And then I'll give the panelists a chance to respond to the comments and the questions. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. My question is addressed to Dorothy. Okay, so cold chain is a very, supply chain is a very long process. We start from the national down to the level. And then we have already existing staff on all these levels, right? And then you mentioned about this specialized staff and task shifting. So can you explain further how are you going to get this specialized staff? Are they outside the system and bringing them into the supply chain to have them shifted to another job or whatsoever?
Okay.
The second question, can I go to the second one, to Dr. Ataur? Okay. Despite the all those things that you have done already to develop leaders and to improve the capacity of your HR, you are still encountering stockouts, overstock, and expired vaccines. So do you have some kind of contingency? What other strategy are you going to look into in order to avoid it? Because this is one problem, this is a major problem.
Right,
Stock
okay.
out, okay, overstock, and then expired vaccines. This is a very, very alarming problem.
Okay, so it's going from one of the approaches to what's the outcome, right? So I would ask that each of you maybe take one of those questions and address it and keep your answers as short as possible because we're now a little bit over time. Thank you. Do you want to start? Go ahead.
Okay, maybe I can go first. Your second question, specifically to Lao. Yes, this is the reality on the ground. Country tried a lot of improvement has been made, but still there are challenges. The first, what I mentioned, there is some systemic issues there. That government has made this special center at the central level to manage all the supplies. But what is happening in last 4 years even, there is some issue of their mandate, their authority, their financial authority. They made the center, but still they don't have any financial authority to manage the supply. So those still remaining with the specific program. So all the money, procurement, distribution, human resource is still remaining with the specific those programs for EPI program, for TB, HIV, the family planning. But still, that has not been given the full power of those centers to manage, especially for financial part. And there was also another systemic issue there in Laos, that the decentralization of the management and authority to the provinces. Province run their own province. And the provincial governor is fully responsible for human resources, for salary, payment, recruitment, everything. Central government has very minimum authority in that sense that they don't manage. So central government, central MPSC, they procure with the support from the program, and then they just deliver to the provincial level. Then province is fully responsible to distribute these up to the districts and the health center. So briefly, there are many issues. Government is thinking on this, they are discussing on this, and we hope that in future there will be a solution on this.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Dorothy, you looked like you were about to jump in.
Thank you for your question. The thing is that
Can you raise the microphone to you?
does it work? Oh. So regarding the specialized and staff shifting, the idea is really to base on the existing staff. So there are about 12,000 staff involved in supply chain management and immunization logistics in Vietnam. And the key point is that they are not 100% allocated. When you look at the different levels, you can imagine that the skills are not the same for all levels of the immunization network. So the idea is really to see how far we could identify the skills. I assume that at national level, it should be more strategic, consideration of the supply chain management as a strategic scope, within a strategic scope. And then when you go lower in the immunization system, then you can see that the task and the skill will be different. So the idea is really to see how far we could specialize the staff to really do what they are supposed to do. Task shifting for the commune health station is really because we are dealing with staff who are very few, and who are involved in, taking the vaccine in a cold box at district level and then going back. So the idea is really to restrict and doing something like task shifting within the other activities, because they are doing other things, not only immunization at commune level. That's it.
Thank you. Dr. Kong, did you want to add anything?
For the issue related for the sustainable system, and also we have to think about the HR capacity development for the supply chain management in the long term and the short term plans. Because as for our country, there's so much limitation of the HR development and the down. We also every time in every area we're thinking about the outsourcing, except the ministry and something like that. So for the long term, it should be think of with the frameworks or the development of the HR capacity. But the short term, we should also think about that.
Thank you. Thank you. And Dr. Dutta, did you have anything to add?
Yeah. I will. Yes. Regarding question on retention and motivation of the staffs, I think it is not easy, but you need to have a plan. I can give you example that cold chain technicians who are part of repair maintenance work, they should have a cadre, but they don't have a cadre normally. So if they are given additional related work which empower them, example which I cited is repair maintenance management of the sick newborn care unit, and the sick newborn care units are managed by the doctors and very high skilled nursing staffs. So when they deal with them, they feel empowered. They feel they are doing a bigger job, greater job. So this is one type of motivation which they have. In addition, because they are also doing repair maintenance of sick newborn care unit, so they got some mobility support which is utilized again for your cold chain equipment, because they are the technician who visit the same facility. So it is optimum utilization of the available human resource and empowerment of the technicians.
Okay, thank you. Masonda, did you want to add anything? I'm going to give Andrew the last word.
Well, just on the leadership, just to agree with the comments that, and the reason we're saying supply chain leaders, we're very much targeting everyone who is involved in influencing the supply chain and making the policies, who are the real decision makers, are very much part of the target audience. And to Adama's comment about how to really create a sustainable system. I think this is the whole idea. It's really about creating a more comprehensive approach and moving away from just fixing gaps in knowledge. But how can we create those career maps and really define those competencies at each level and develop informed strategies, training plans, or capacity development plans. So really, I think you just summed up exactly what at least we're trying to do.
Andrew, do you want to take the last word?
The human resources questions are fantastic, and think about how many questions about human resources this community was discussing 5 years ago. And it's fantastic we're talking about them now, but we must realize that discussions around human resources and how to approach them in a systematic way are not new. Don't be scared to look outside this sector to see lots of evidence. In a range of the questions that occurred today, there are country experiences, there is evidence, and there is suggested guidelines on all of the 5 building blocks. There is lots of evidence out there. Take the time to look for it. This is a start. Just quickly, regarding advocacy, you are very true and clear that we need to advocate with governments. Who are the governments going to listen to? And so there's some ideas floating around about using some of the call-in powers of agencies like Gavi, Gates, UNICEF and others to have these discussions about supply chain, their importance, and about what investments need to be made in human resources. How to fill the gap? You're very right, we can be training and we can build capacity in government sectors, but they will be sucked immediately into the private sector. There's some estimations in Africa that the amount of supply chain professionals needed in the private sector as well as in the government sector will balloon over the next 5 to 10 years beyond what any current approaches to capacity development will be able to sustain. And currently we do not have massive scale-up considerations for the whole-of-market approach. How are we going to address that problem? Country-based profiles. Within People That Deliver, we're concentrating on countries organising their own profiles for the different levels as you've described, but using international evidence and evidence from other countries. Very shortly there'll be some job profiles uploaded on our website from a couple of our focus countries, and there are some there already from other countries.
Okay, I'm going to have to cut you short.
Yeah.
So.
Final statement. For everyone that's here, HR is everyone's business. I'd encourage you to consider HR implications on any project that you're involved with supply chain and look for opportunities to advocate for this approach.
Okay, I'd like to thank our panelists. Can you join me in thanking them? I'll just remind you that we will continue some of these conversations this afternoon in the breakout sessions, and if we could take a short coffee break and come back at 10:30, we'll now get into the element of data management, data for management, and LMIS. And make sure you pick up your People That Deliver luggage tag. Thank you, everybody.
Can we have a picture here?
You want a picture with the poster? That's nice.
Yeah, so we're starting with Gemma, and then we're going to you, right?
Correct. Yeah, there's no problem. Yes, I am doing
Okay, so I'm just introducing Gemma, and you're taking care of everybody else. I'm going to go off beers.
Okay, excellent. That sounds like a good plan.
I'm sure. Okay, I think we're going to get started, and we'll let everybody else trickle in while we can. So, Gemma, when you begin your presentation, speak slowly at the beginning, but don't take too much time. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to data for management, the global updates, and we're going to hear from Gemma Orta-Martinez from UNICEF Supply Division in Copenhagen. And after we hear from her on the data for management global work stream, challenges and priorities, etc., Brian Taliesin from PATH is going to introduce and host the country presentations that we'll hear from Pakistan, India, and Sri Lanka. And then he will also moderate the question and answer period. So I'm just going to go, actually, and then Jan Garavndong from WHO will actually moderate the Q&A for us after the country presentation. So Gemma, would you like to take it away and talk to us about the Data for Management Working Group, the challenges and priorities currently and in the future?
Yes. So, thank you. So these past couple of days, we have heard and seen a lot of issues on the immunization supply chain and a lot of solutions as well. Often have we heard these past days mentions of data pieces and data uses in connection to the topics that we have been looking at, such as temperature monitoring systems, such as the controlled temperature chain and the supply chain integration of the different health verticals. Now today, we're going to take some of these pieces and put them together to look at them from an immunization supply chain data point of view. So the immunization supply chain data is not just any data. It is a specific type of data, a type of data that has the objective of helping us understand our immunization supply chain. That is helping us understand where are the bottlenecks, what is happening in our immunization supply chain, and then take action from it. So the immunization supply chain data is a specific data, type of data that helps us manage the supply chain based on evidence. So under the umbrella of the Gavi Alliance Immunization Supply Chain Strategy, there was a broad group that was convened to look at these data for management issues. The objective of the group, the objective of having this group review all of this, was to help make relevant data available at the different levels of the supply chain. So not at the low national level for reporting, not for reporting to WHO and UNICEF, but at the different levels of the immunization supply chain, for oversight, for management, and for continuous improvement of the immunization supply chain. So what we did as well, we did a review. We looked at, okay, what exactly are the issues that are happening in data for management or in the data for immunization. As you know, the EVM has one element of data, but it is more about information management systems, so it doesn't really talk about how people in the supply chain are actually using the data. So we did a review. You see it here. Some of the key things that we identified. I would just maybe like to highlight that the data that is collected, or the people who collect the data, they many times do not find a lot of value in the data that they are collecting. So they don't know what this is going to be used for. They don't think that they are going to use it themselves. So they may collect it in a way that is maybe not the best way, but also, and maybe worse, they are not taking action on this data because they don't know why this is being collected. It has very little value for them, which also means that, well, they don't act on it, but also when they report it back up the chain, they don't hear again from this data. they do not get back anything. They send a piece of data, they don't get back like a graph, like some information, like some actions for their specific element of for the specific segment of the supply chain. So those were some of the findings that we identified. So what is it that we are proposing? We're proposing to simplify. We have heard this word before in this couple of days. To simplify and only collect what is worth, only collect what really is going to be used. And simplify also the way that the data is being shown so that it eases the understanding at the different levels of the supply chain.